I'm tired. I work hard. I just can't have it where I'm the only one who's doing things in the household.
What? Doing things? What about what I need? I need my wife to support me. I have a dream for this family.
What you need to do is get out this car and pump that gas, and maybe I'll support you on that. All I ask is that he cooks every once in a while, and he can't even handle that.
Too much, huh? I can't believe she speaks. She's got some nerve. I do all the work around here.
Well, this is part 2 of our new series called Effective Love, and this series is built around a book written by Gary Chapman and called The 5 Love Languages. And so if you missed part 1 of this series where I introduced the series, I'd strongly recommend you get a CD so you can hear it. You can get one after service or a DVD of it so you can hear part 1. And also, or you can go online and watch it on our website, zionchurchonline.com. You can watch part 1 that way. Now let me just check and see. I want to applaud all those who went and got the book. So in this room where I can see, how many of y'all got the book and purchased the book? Let me see. Oh, I'm proud of y'all and ashamed of the others. I commend you for making an investment in your marriage or in your future marriage. By the way, Gary Chapman has a love language for singles. He has a love language, 5 love languages for children, teenagers, even coworkers, I think. And so thank you for making that investment. Now you got the book, you got to read it. And if reading is problematic for whatever reason, then take time, get the CD so you can listen to it, because maybe your schedule doesn't give you enough time to read. So, get the CD so you can listen to it. Also, let me give a thumbs up to all those who went online, 5lovelanguages.com, and took the assessment to find out what your primary love language was. How many people did that? Let me see that. That's better. So it may not have been a surprise to you. It may have just reaffirmed what you already knew about how God has wired you to receive love. And so that may have been the case. And you may have found out, too, that you may have more than one area. You're a blend. You may have more than one area where you have a high score primary language. And that's cool. It just means that you can receive love in more than one way, in a meaningful way, and it feels like love to you. But if you got a 10, 11, or 12 on anything, that's it. That's your primary love language. But the key in this series is knowing your spouse's primary love language and speaking that to them lovingly and consistently. That's the key. Because remember, our big idea in this series is effective love, is knowing your spouse's primary love language and speaking it lovingly and consistently to your spouse. That's what this whole series is all about. Being a student of your spouse and knowing how to love them effectively. That's what the key to this series is. So make sure you're a student of your spouse and not just an expert on yourself in this. Now let me say a word to single people who may be saying, well, if I'm single, why should I come to a whole series about marriage and I'm not married? Well, let me answer this way. I talked to Pastor James Marshall about this because he's single now, and he answered the question like this, and I thought it was great. You don't prepare for a baby after the baby arrives. When a woman is pregnant, provisions are being made for the baby along the way, like events are being planned and showers are had and rooms are painted and what are we going to name the baby and what's all that. You know why? Because you're in anticipation of the baby, you prepare for it. And the better prepared you are, the smoother the transition. Well, the same is true with marriage. If you're single and you intend to be married one day or you desire to be married, the more prepared you are, the smoother the transition, the better you'll be off when you're in that context. All right? Now today, the primary love language we're going to look at today is the first one Chapman covers in his book, and it's called Words of Affirmation. And here's our point for today. This is the main point I want to give you. Words of affirmation have the power to fill a person's emotional love tank. Words of affirmation have the power to fill a person's emotional love tank. That's critical. That's how powerful words are. You know, throughout the New Testament, throughout the book of the Bible, period, but particularly in the book of Proverbs, I would say, you see the power of words, how powerful words are. Like in Proverbs 12:25, it says this. It says, a person can be weighed down with worry. Worry weighs down a person, but watch this. An encouraging word cheers a person up. That's powerful right there. Watch this. Here you have a person who's weighed down with worry. They're so worried, they're weighed down about it. And yet, a word can literally change their emotional climate and status. That's powerful right there. That's how powerful words are. Words have the power to actually change the way a person feels. And so it can cheer a person up. And if a person's already up, you can use encouraging, affirming words to keep them up. Using words the right way. And so when you say to a person, particularly if you're in a marriage relationship, and you say to your spouse, let's say your spouse, their primary love language, the way that they feel loved the most is through hearing words of affirmation. If that fills their tank, then they're filled by you saying things, speaking things to them that build them up. Like when you say to your person you're in a relationship with, I love you so much. And I so appreciate what you do for our family. And I know I don't tell you this often, but I thank you for how hard you work to provide for us. And I thank you for how you work with our children. And I thank you for how you work around our home. And just when you say that to a person whose primary love language is words of affirmation, it's like they're walking to a filling station and their love tank is being filled up. When you tell them, you know what? You look so good today. You look beautiful today. You look nice in that outfit. Let me tell you what that song was all about. You know, if you're at a Zion Church in-person experience, I told y'all last week, every week you're going to hear a secular love song. Just pray for us. I already told y'all. Now today, it was Prince. But here's the song. The song was called, y'all didn't get to hear that, but the song was called You're the Most Beautiful Girl in the World. What girl wouldn't want to hear that? And the man sung it to his wife. I bet she felt it. I bet he's straight tonight. I ain't trying to get in there, but I'm telling you right now, he is good. At least for the day. What girl wouldn't want to hear that? It was just a friendly reminder to let everybody in here know that it is your responsibility to let the person you're in a love relationship know how much you appreciate them, that you value them. Because why? That fills their emotional love tank. So when you say things like you're pretty, and let me tell every man in here who's married, you better be the first one to tell your wife she's pretty and not let some joker at church say, you looking good, girl. You know why? Because she'll start looking for that guy at church. She said, no, I don't want to go to 10 o'clock service. I want to go 1 o'clock service. Why you want to go to 1 o'clock service? I just like 1 o'clock service better. But she like 1 o'clock service better because every time she comes to 1 o'clock service, the guy tells her, you looking good today. She'd rather you say that. You got to understand, that fills a person's love tank. Saying you're pretty, you look good, saying you did great on that project, you handled that assignment well, praising our children, saying what a game, you played a great game today, you did well, I'm so proud of you. That fills, for people, that's their primary love language, it fills their emotional love tank up. And it's so important because one of the things that Chapman talks about in this book is when children are little, parents are good at affirming them and commending them. When a child is little, they can do no wrong. They're like, that's my little man right there, my little man. And he just went and picked something up and brought it to you. And you're like, that's good, But, when he gets older, picking stuff up, he's supposed to pick it up. So now he don't pick up enough stuff. Why don't you pick up behind yourself around here? If he was cleaning up his room when he was a toddler and there was 10 toys on the floor and he put 5 of them away, you say, you're halfway there. Oh, halfway. Now he's a little older. Now you half do everything. And so they grow into contexts where their parents is never enough. My coach is never enough. My teacher is never enough. The administrators is never enough. The school bus driver is never enough. So they move into contexts of condemnation and criticism. And so here's why this is so important. The reason why this point is so important is you got to understand that words of affirmation have the power to fill up our emotional love tank, is because the opposite of that is true as well. Words of condemnation can actually empty you. They drain you. They deplete you. And that is so important for us to understand, because we need to understand how powerful words are in this world. I know in my own life, I've seen in my own life how powerful, how words have the power to heal and to hurt people. I've seen in my own life, I've witnessed God use my mouth. God has used my mouth to bring life to people. And then I've used the same mouth to bring death to people, to tear people down. I'm not saying it because I'm proud. It's not something to be proud of. I'm admitting that because I'm amongst people who do the same thing. We all do it. In fact, the Bible even says that the tongue has this power. Proverbs 18:21. The tongue has the power of death and life. It can bring death or life. That's powerful right there. The power of our tongue to both hurt and heal people. And sometimes we're not cognizant of the power of our words. We just toss them around, sometimes even recklessly, because we're not cognizant of how much power they have. Our words have the power to build people up or tear people down. And we had an awesome message a few weeks ago when Devin Turner did a message on this called Zip It. Did an awesome job in teaching us about this when he taught us that our words are powerful and that we're responsible for whether we use our words to hurt people or help people. As a matter of fact, I want to go back to the verse that he used in that lesson that we got on that day in Ephesians chapter 4. If you have a Bible, turn to Ephesians chapter 4. And I want to use the verse that Devin taught us from in verse 29 in New Living Translation. I'm going to read it to you. If you don't have a Bible, that's okay. It's going to come on the screen. Listen to these words. It's powerful. It says this, don't use foul or abusive language. Watch this. Let everything you say be good and helpful. Do you see that? Let everything you say be good and helpful. That means some of us wouldn't have nothing to say. And this is, put it back up and say, let everything you say be good and helpful. That's loaded, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Let everything you say be good and helpful. Our words need to be good and helpful. We need to make a determination. Is what I'm about to say good and helpful? In other words, we do not have permission to just speak our minds. Tell it like it is. Keep it real. So sick of these people saying, I'm keeping it real. You don't want to know the truth? Don't ask me. No, we want to know the truth from your sick, nasty behind. You mean, cruel person. How about some love? We just, if speaking our mind, there's some things that come to my mind that I should never speak. Just telling it like it is. If telling it like it is and keeping it real is going to be harmful and destructive and hurtful to people, we should never even say it out of our mouth. Old folks used to say, if you don't have something good to say, y'all know what the old folks say. Don't know what the Bible say. Y'all know what the old folks say. But here's the problem. We want to move beyond that. Don't just, watch this. The goal is to say good things to people. The old folks say, if you don't have something good to say, don't say nothing at all. That's progress, but it's not where we want to get to. We don't want to say nothing. We want to say something that is good. Because when you're married to somebody, you're in a relationship with somebody whose love tank is filled by words of affirmation. Listen, when they get words of affirmation, they feel filled up. When they get words of condemnation, they feel drained and depleted. But watch this. You know what also drains them? Silence. When you say nothing. You ain't got nothing bad to say. You ain't got nothing good to say. You have nothing to say. You're indifferent. That drains a person who's looking for love through words of affirmation. And it's not just a spoken word. Sometimes it can be a written word. It can be a note you write, a thank you note, an encouragement card, a text, an email, a tweet, whatever it is. Those things are important too. Those things fill up the emotional love tank of the person you're in a relationship with. And the reason why it's so important that you be an expert on your spouse and you're doing that for your spouse is so that they won't find themselves gravitating towards other people to do it for them. Because let me tell you why you cannot afford to ignore me today. If you do not love your spouse, if your spouse has words of affirmation is high on their priority list, if you do not affirm your spouse in the way they need to be loved, and because that fills their love tank, if that's the way their love tank is filled, and they're not filled that way at home, as a matter of fact, they're not only not filled at home, they're drained at home. They're emptied at home. They're criticized at home. They're depleted at home. They hear silent violence at home. Not only so they're not filled, they're depleted. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to naturally gravitate towards environments where they hear their love language. Then you get all bent out of shape talking about, well, why they be going all over there? Why they be working so long? Why they be working all these hours? Working 15, 16 hours a day. You know why they work 15, 16 hours a day? It's because they know eventually if I keep working, I'm going to get something to affirm me. It's going to be a bonus. It's going to be a check. It's going to be some word of affirmation. I'm going to get applauded by somebody on my job, but I hear nothing at home. It's never enough at home. So why he be on them dirty websites like that? I ain't trying to justify, but I'm just trying to explain it. Maybe he feels valued when he goes there. Because the website people know how to talk to him. He got a name on the website. He's big guy. Hey, big guy. You're back? Hey, big guy. So you wonder why he's in the basement on the website, because he's big guy in the basement. He's nothing to you. You don't even say his name. You just say, telephone. Keep rejecting him. See, y'all don't want to deal with the truth. We don't want to deal with real stuff. And see, man, you mad at her because she's had an inappropriate conversation with another man. And you done found some text, you done found some email. Now you pissed off because she done talked to somebody else that she should have been talking to. Well, if your behind had been talking to her and telling her that you loved her, she wouldn't have went out that way and started having this conversation with him. She went there because she was empty. And she'd rather have the conversation with you than with him. Don't put your head down. Look up at me. You have got to, and don't be talking about, well, don't it take two? You know, how I'm supposed to do it all by myself. They don't even come to church with me. Listen to me right now. Your only job in this series is to be an expert on your spouse. That's your only job, not an expert on you. Your job is to be an expert on your spouse, learn how to love your spouse, learn how to be an expert on how they need love, and love them the way they need to be loved. And then you trust God that whatever I give, it's going to be given unto me, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And whatever you don't give me, God is able to give me. But I need to do what I'm supposed to do on my side of the ledger. All I can work on is me. Stop getting distressed. I can't do this. I can't do this. You just do what you're supposed to do. Stop trying to change your spouse. Change yourself. Let God change you so that you can be an expert on your spouse and love them in such a way that you fill their emotional love tank. Our job is to be emotional love tank fillers, period. So that they won't be in a chat room trying to get filled, or in a bar talking to a bartender who, by the way, is trained to talk to people and keep them at their bar, trained to applaud people. You're a good man, Doug. You're a good man, Douglas. Well, you're going to sit there and say, well, give me another one. Sure, I'm a good man. You're right, I'm a good man. And Sarah never tells me that. You start praising him and see how quick he comes home. See, because let me say, oh Lord, let me say this. It ain't even this is, if words of affirmation, even if words of affirmation is not even your or your spouse's primary love language, it's still important to speak it, because words of affirmation don't just bless people, it blesses environments. You need your home to feel better. Vicky was the first person I ever heard this word from. I never heard it since. Early in our marriage, she used to talk about the importance of emotional safety in our marriage. That means, that's a powerful statement, because, we all want to live and dwell in a context that's emotionally safe. We don't just want to be in an environment that's physically safe. We want to be in an environment that's emotionally safe. Because you could be in an environment where ain't nobody going to hit you or beat on you, but the emotional climate is tricky. Because you never know when somebody just going to kirk. Okay, we're in Maryland. Kirk means go postal, blow up, go off, flick off, go crazy. Kirk. Maryland. So you want to be in an environment where it's emotionally safe, and emotional safety is created through words of affirmation. You speak those words into the room, into the house, and you find things to be thankful about. You find ways to praise your loved one. You find ways to be thankful. Why? Because that fills their emotional love tank. Now let me tell you something. This is what I'm learning about these love languages. This is so key. Whatever your primary love language is, whatever makes you feel loved the most when it happens, understand this, that when the opposite happens, you feel pain more than most people too. Let me illustrate it. For example, let's say your love language is quality time. And we're going to talk about quality time next week. And let's say because your love language is quality time, the way you feel loved the most is when the person you're in a love relationship with spends time with you. You feel love when they spend focused time on you. Not when they're just there. They're just there in the vicinity and they're doing a bunch of other things. But when their time is spent with you, they'll do something with you, not even because they interested in what we're doing. They just do it to be with you. You feel that fills your tank up that they would invest time in you. In fact, we'll see, we'll talk about this next week. People whose primary love language is quality time, they spell love Time. That's how valuable time is to them. Well, when that's what fills your tank, your loved one or your spouse spending time with you, what happens is when that doesn't happen, and when instead your spouse leaves you alone consistently, when you're left alone consistently and your primary love language is quality time, that does not feel good to you. That does not feel like, whew, free at last. Or, wow, finally, peace of mind. Or, some pleasurable solitude. Just what I've been waiting for. No. For a person whose primary love language is quality time, when you're left alone by your spouse a lot of times, consistently, that feels terribly lonely to you. And you feel extremely unloved. And it is key that we get this. It is critical that we understand this because some of us don't get it because quality time is so low on our score, we don't even care about that just quality time stuff. And so, as a matter of fact, some of you are so low on the area of quality time that if your spouse came to you and say, honey, I'm going shopping, you would say to yourself, when you leaving? Could take the kids too. Please go. But y'all ain't gone. What y'all need help? Then when they're gone, you feel so relieved when they go, you're like, finally, I got some time. I got some me time. Me time is critical to you because quality time is not important to you because you're tired of being around people. You get exhausted by being around people. In fact, when they call you from the mall and say, we're going to be late, you be like, ain't no problem. Take your time. It's nice out there. Want to play some golf too with y'all? What? You know why? Because you value alone time. That is not how it feels to somebody who values quality time as a love language. As a matter of fact, when they hear their family member says, you know what, we're going to be late coming home, they're going to say, well, what happened? Well, how late y'all going to be? Well, y'all need to hurry up. Why does this always happen? I'm here by myself. You see, don't judge a person. We're all different. Just because you cool being alone by yourself for you can go on a retreat for a year. You wouldn't miss nobody. Be like, where you at? I'm on a retreat. I'm looking at the mountains and stuff. You can be out in the woods and be good. Some of us don't deal with that real good. We out in the woods, we like, anybody out here in the woods? That's how it is with all 5 love languages. Whatever your primary love language is, not only when you get it does it fill you, but when you don't get it, it hurts you differently than other people. Like words of affirmation, what we're talking about today. When words of affirmation fill you up, let me tell you something. Silence and words of criticism break you down. They dig deep. I met a couple of people. Because I didn't know people like this personally because I thought people would just fake it when they would say it. But there are actually people out here because of the way they're wired, they don't trip off of what people say negatively about them. They're just like, I don't care what people think about me, man. That's their opinion. There are people like that. I used to didn't think people were like that because I know that's not how I am, even though I say that. I'd be like, I don't care what people say about me, and I'd be really hurt about it. I thought everybody was like that. But there's some people, when they say that, I don't care what people think. That's their opinion. That's their opinion. Some people like that. I wish that was me. But when you're like me and words of affirmation are high on your list, when people say something harmful to you, it hurts for years. It's called psycholinguistics. That's what Chapman calls it. Psycholinguistics is when negative language hurts your psyche. There's some grown adults in here who are still wounded because somebody called them fat when they were a kid. Some parent called you dumb when you were a child. There's things that we've heard in our childhood that still penetrate into us today. You can be sitting at home today, watching the game, just sitting there and think about something somebody said 6 years ago. And you think about that thing and you be like, that was cold. That was so mean. People wondering what's wrong. We just watching the game. You be like, What's wrong with you, dude? All right. Just go ahead, man. Go ahead. That's serious. That's why when you're married to somebody and their love language is words of affirmation, you need to be extra careful about what you say. Speak those things which fill your love tank, your loved one's love tank. Now here's the takeaway. First of all, know this, that if the person you're in love relationship with, their primary love language is words of affirmation, you know that fills their tank, here's what you got to do. Here's your takeaway. Fill their tank with words of affirmation. Speak them lovingly and consistently. Say, look, Keith, listen here. I ain't been doing that. That ain't how we, I'm going to keep it real kind of person. I got to stay on my spouse. That's how they get better. I like staying on people. When my kids ain't doing right, I stay on them. I got to stay on them because, it's tough out here. You be so hard on the kids, they get 6 A's on the report card, 1 B. All you talking about is the B. What's up with this B, Junior? Junior, I said, what's up with this B? We paying too much money for tuition to have some B's. You ain't never got an A in your life. You're like, what's up with this B? What you been playing in class, hadn't you? Man, 6 A's? We can't applaud. You need to clap for each A. You ain't never got one. You ain't get an A in gym and you're like, what's up with this B, Junior? Junior, what's up with this B? So you might say, you know what, I ain't used to our climate, our emotional climate, Keith, is tricky, man. We don't be saying a lot of nice stuff to each other. We just try to not say nothing, so we won't say nothing real bad. So how do I get started? Here's how you get started. You get started. Start saying nice things. Start saying affirming words. Just do it. Sure, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel weird. Anything you start doing new is going to feel weird. But just because it feels weird don't mean you shouldn't do it. If you start writing with your left hand and you're right-handed, it's going to feel weird at first, but you'll get used to it. You start doing it. You start looking for things to be thankful for. I appreciate you. That was a good job, son. And you might get some crazy looks. You start praising people in your house, people looking at you. What happened to you? That's all right. Let them look at you crazy, feel weird, you might even feel conflicted. You might start feeling phony and fake and hypocritical because you're so used to keeping it real and being all hard. That's okay. Feel all that and do the right thing anyway. Make the adjustment. Do it right. Fill their love tanks with words they need to hear. Now, let me give you a disclaimer right here. Don't expect things to change right away. Don't expect, because now you, Mr. or Mrs., I love you now. You going around the house telling everybody you love them. Now, before everybody go to sleep, you want to say, I love you. Before you hang up the phone, I love you. When you leave for work, you just look back in the house and say, I love y'all, and you just stand there waiting on somebody to say it. You say, I love y'all. They say, all right, go in and work then. Love us. Go get that money. Don't stop saying it because you don't hear it back. And don't stop saying it even if you say I love you to somebody and they say, no, you don't. I love you. No, you don't. Because if you love me, you just don't go there. And I love you. No, you don't. What you mean I don't love you? See, that's what I'm talking about. Now you're over there. No, just stay right over here. Stay right here. I love you. Because you need to understand that people aren't going to believe you love them because they don't feel like you love them. Not because you don't love them, but because you were loving them ineffectively. People only feel love when you love them the way they feel love the most. And don't beat yourself up about it, just adjust. The reason why a lot of us as adults didn't know how to give words of affirmation as adults is because we didn't hear it as children. You learn the primary love language of the environment you grew up in. Remember I said that last week. That's not just linguistically. You don't speak English fluently just because you grew up in a family. That's why you speak English fluently, because you grew up in an English-speaking environment. But you also speak the love language that you heard the most. And if you didn't hear words of affirmation growing up, that's like learning a new language. But you can learn it. You know better. You can do better. And that doesn't mean you get to condemn your parents now and say, oh, you call your parents and say, see, this is why this is why I am proud now. Y'all ain't never tell me that good. Just come on, man. That don't even mean your parents didn't love you. They love you. They just didn't love you the way you felt loved the most. Just like you love your family, but they don't feel it. They feel like it's not love. But you can love somebody and they not feel it because it's not the way they feel loved the most. So make the adjustment. Make the adjustment. Fill up your loved one's love tank. And now here's what can happen. You might say, you know what, man, Kiefer, let me tell you right now, man. I tried, man. I tried all week. Every time I went to try to say something nice, I couldn't say it, man. My mouth wouldn't even move. Because I'm so mad, man. I'm so angry, man. I can't stand this person. They made me so sick. Man, you just don't know what we've been through, man. It's been so hard on me. Who you know been through this kind of stuff, man? I can run it down to you. Pastor, what we've been through is so embarrassing, Pastor. I don't even want to tell you, Pastor. I ain't going to even bring you through all that, Pastor. And so this is what you say. I can't even say nothing nice. Let me tell you something. If you cannot say anything nice to the person you're in a love relationship with, here's what you got to do. You got to check your heart. Matthew 12:34 says this. Put it up for me. Old King James says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. New Living Translation, end of the verse says, whatever's in your heart determines what you say. It's a heart problem. If you can't say something loving, it's because you have a blockage in your heart. And what's blocking in your heart? Anger, bitterness, malice that comes from hurt and unforgiveness. And you got to take all that to God. And the only way to get through anger, bitterness, and malice that came from your hurt is to forgive. You got to say, God, help me to forgive whoever I need to forgive so my heart can be opened up so I can speak love again. Help me, Lord. Even if the person I got to forgive is me. Some of us need to forgive ourselves. You've been mean so long, you feel like you can't change. You got to forgive yourself. Ask God, help me to forgive myself so I can love the way I need to love. Or sometimes the person you need to forgive is God. Some of us are inwardly bitter towards God because he let something happen in our life or something happen to somebody close to us. And we're angry with God. Say, God, help me. Open up my heart again so I can speak love. Because you know why? Because there are a lot of empty tanks around you waiting to be filled. And it's your assignment to fill the love tanks of those around you. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for your truth and for what we're learning in this series. Help us to not get bitter, but to get better. Help us to not just hear truth, but to heed it, to practice it, to own it. I pray that you do something supernatural in relationships. That you restore and renew and revive and cause us to repent if we haven't been loving the right way. Help us to love and affirm and encourage. Change the emotional climate in our homes because of the words we speak. In Jesus' name, amen.